I have made a point over the last several weeks now that we're into the political primary season on the county and state level here in Idaho and in Twin Falls County. I have made a point of trying to stay out of the weeds when it comes to various sides in the various political campaigns, Republicans anyway. It's no secret that I'm a registered Republican, and I think if you've been listening to the show for the last 15 months, you've figured out I'm a fairly conservative Republican, sometimes a bit of a libertarian, but still, my choices obviously are going to run Republican, and rarely in my life, I'm trying to even recall, but rarely in my life have I ever pulled a lever for a Democrat. And if you quizzed me, I wouldn't be able to tell you when it was or who it was. It's if I did, it's been a long, long time, and for those reasons, I believe me, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm going to be unbiased when it comes to the general election, but I've been trying very hard to stay out of the primary fights between the various Republicans. And I posted a column a couple of days ago at our website, newsradio1310.com, where I spoke about that. And I said, there are candidates out there that I genuinely like. There are candidates I will likely vote for that I have met. But at the moment, they don't know who that happens to be. And because of that, I can hold some objectivity during the course of this primary contest. And I'm going to leave it at that. But every once in a while, I see something and I take one look at it and I just stand back and say to myself, all right, this is way over the line. This is too far. This is surely enough. And I'm bringing up the Facebook page of a challenger who is challenging, in fact, County Prosecutor Grant Loebs here in Twin Falls County. And I'm referring to some of the comments that are being made there. Now, if I happen to be challenging a prosecutor who has, from what everyone tells me, a fairly stellar record when it comes to prosecutions, if I had to be challenging that individual, I would be parsing that prosecutor's record and saying, look, I can do better here. Here's why I think I can do better. I think I can get a higher conviction rate on this particular area or this particular area or all of these areas. Make your argument, make a logical argument, make that pitch to the people, and then let them decide. And there's another angle to all of this. When I first came to Twin Falls, I attended a few meetings of various political groups around town, and most of those are what I would call people who are anywhere from right of center to extreme right. But that's okay. I want to get a lot of feedback from people. And I would hear that Grant Loebs is the real power behind the Republican Party in Twin Falls County, and people would say nothing happens here as Republicans go unless he approves it. And yet we have primaries in just about every dang important race in the county this year, which would tell you that he'll approve just about anything. No, seriously, what happens is if someone wants to run, they can file and they can do it, right? So this notion that somebody is somehow controlling all of the pieces out there is baloney. If he could actually do that, then he wouldn't have a primary challenger, now would he? I will also admit that he is not likely the warmest person you would ever meet in a particular social setting, or if you ran into him at the grocery store. I don't know that for sure. I get along with him just fine, but I'm sure there are other people out there who find that he's a little bit on the distant side. On the other hand, I don't want Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood prosecuting criminals. I'm not looking for someone to go in there and hold hands with a killer and say, well, I'm sure you didn't really mean it and we can work this out. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone to go in there and put that killer away for the rest of his or her life. So I bring all of this up because I know there are people out there, and everyone has their own particular axes to grind, and some of those may even be legitimate axes to grind. But when I look at somebody's Facebook page and they're rambling on about the personal life of their opponent, and they're taking disparaging shots, almost defamatory shots at their opponent, and then saying, well, sources tell me without any hard evidence. First of all, you're a lawyer, dang it. You have to deal in facts. People get angry with me when they call up on the show from time to time and say, well, this is going on, and I'll say, well, where's your evidence? Well, I saw it on the internet. And I'll say, where's your evidence? I'm not trying to make you look bad. I'm just trying to tell you, in order to win a really serious argument, you better come armed with some serious evidence. And we, all of us, too often in life, we walk around and we live our lives in this belief or in this sense that, well, if we just feel strongly and emotionally about it, And we tell other people that they'll go along with us. But not everybody else, that's why we all have different colored eyes and different colored hair, and some of us are fat, some of us are tall, some of us are skinny, some of us are short. There's tremendous differences between all of us, and our needs and wants differ greatly. That's why we have political parties. That's why we have primaries, all of these things that are currently going on. But when I see a candidate who is running for an office and running to be the top county prosecutor, who goes on rambling accusations about alcohol abuse and womanizing and all of these things, and there is absolutely no evidence provided by that candidate, I think the guy's got a screw loose. And I don't think he should be anywhere near the office of the prosecutor here in Twin Falls County. And with that, I take great offense because it insults my intelligence when I see something like that. And I'm telling you right now, the people who put him up to this, you couldn't have done any better? What's wrong with you? You couldn't find someone out there who was articulate, who could make some serious arguments? You had to go out and drag somebody out of the field who was just going to sit there and make disparaging comments about someone's personal life? Telephone number to reach our program this morning, 736-0300. 736-0300. I will not vote for a scoundrel who does those types of allegations online. I'm going to make that clear today. If that's an endorsement for the incumbent, then so be it. 736-0300. Bill Colley with you this morning on News Radio 1310, KLIX, and newsradio1310.com. It's 44. And then beyond that, to make allegations against a sitting county judge who is a former bishop in his own church, claiming that he is somehow juggling justice and fixing various cases in collusion with the county prosecutor, then if you get elected and you've made those allegations, that judge will never be able to preside over any cases you're involved with, which will be about 50% of the cases in this county. Now, I'm trying to walk a balancing beam here, because I realize that there are a lot of entrenched politicians in Idaho, and some of them, they could go. And it might not be a bad thing that they would go. But I get back to this. Find the right person. It can't be that difficult. But instead, when you have to go out and drag out one of the cast members from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and put that person in the race, why do you think they laugh at you at the newspaper when you do things like that? It just frosts me to no end in these particular situations. I should also share my email address this morning. It's bill.colley@townsquaremedia.com. bill.colley@townsquaremedia.com. There are people, I'll put it this way, in this state who sometimes, I think, when they started, they had their hearts in the right place. There's a website I read, and I get a lot of great news tidbits out of there that I don't get in the mainstream media in Idaho. But every once in a while, the people who put out that website, they'll put up a picture of one of the Rothschilds and start rambling on about international bankers controlling the world. And that's just a synonym for Jews, folks. So, and again, you want to be taken seriously, and yet you get off into the weeds on these things yourselves. You're way out in the field, too. The people in this county, and I can tell you this for feedback that I get from places I go, and even people who are in powerful positions, they were opposed for the time being to this refugee resettlement program. They didn't want to see it go away forever, but they thought, like I did, that perhaps we should be careful and we should at least put a moratorium on it, and we should take more time, and we should examine who these people are so we can ensure that nobody comes here that's going to be an endangerment to us. And yet, the people who are collecting the signatures to try to get this on the ballot, and they're angry with Grant Loebs because, of course, he said previously the way it was written was unconstitutional, and their argument was, no, it's not. Not that a lawyer, a well-educated lawyer, and who's worked as an aide on Capitol Hill would know a dang thing about the Constitution, but he apparently may. How the heck could you screw that up? Well, you know what it is when you're out there gathering signatures and then you start rambling on about, teenage Muslim boys leering at women at Walmart, and I shop there. I don't see any of this stuff going on. Or you want to ramble on about international banking and Jews or whatever else. No wonder you're not getting the signatures you need. Just plainly state it, get the signature, and then move on from there. 736-0300. We have a telephone caller with us. You're on the air with Bill Colley on Top Story.
Yeah, well, there's two, maybe three reasons why somebody runs for office. The first and best reason is that they care about their local politics, their local community, city or county, whichever the case may be, and they want to do something to make things better. And then there are those that run for their own personal agendas, and there are the ones that run because they think that they have been somehow misused or offended or something by the incumbent politician. And I would just encourage people before they vote to make sure that they're voting for somebody that has the best interests of the political jurisdiction at heart, and not somebody that's getting in there to promote a personal agenda or a personal grudge.
And I agree with that. And thank you for the call. I just in our own personal lives, I've been in the working world, at least where I've gotten a payroll check, for 37 years now. And all I can tell you is twice in my life I felt I had been wronged by my employer, and I was not happy about it. I was bitter for a long time afterward. But you know what? You got to pick up and move on. And your motivation cannot be the anger that's fueling you. You're up next. You're on the air with Bill Colley on KLIX.
Hey, Bill, what I heard was that 3,000 signatures were not qualified on that petition. Is that what you heard?
I know that it was way short. That's all I know at this point.
Okay. Yeah, that's what they were saying on the news, and I go, unqualified, because they asked me if I was a registered voter when I signed. So, okay, I just wanted...
It well could be, and I thank you. You could be right, and it well could be that a lot of people misunderstood that question when they signed. But again, you basically needed more people on the streets and more people going door to door to do all of this, and it did not happen. But if it were to go to an up or down vote, surely it would be a vote for a moratorium for the time being. Different subject, but I mean obviously tangentially related to the one we've been talking about here in the opening of the program. But unfortunately, they didn't get the signatures. That was the next hurdle they had to clear. But I'm telling you right now, if you wanted to challenge a politician that you disagreed with, you could have done a lot better. 20 minutes after 8 o'clock, Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX, and NewsRadio1310.com. It's 45. Speaking of politicians, I don't know if he likes the label or not, but well, that's what he does. Don Hall is scheduled to join us in the next hour of the show. He'll spend about 10, 15 minutes with us. He's a candidate. He's coming up after 9 o'clock news. Candidate challenging one of those incumbents for a seat on the county commission, and we'll have more details on that just ahead this morning on Top Story with Bill Colley on News Radio 1310 KLIX and NewsRadio1310.com.